Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Corey, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Today, I've been desperate to make this episode. In fact, I wanted to make this episode on Saturday when it happened, and it's something to do with some of the lessons that we've learned over the period of time, something to do with decision making, and a little bit of just having resolve, like really winners resolve. Because most people, when it comes to being in a sexless relationship, the few things that is disrupting them from actually moving from sexless to sexual success is decision making, and when I'll come back to that, and also how they react to when things go wrong. So, do you have enough resolve to keep things amicable, or keep things in a way that's moving forward, or even keep things in seduction, even though things look a little bit hairy. So that was just to get you excited about what we're going to be talking about, and I'll just give you the story of what happened. So at the moment, as I'm working as an engineer, that's how we make our money. Bulk of our money comes from that. The coaching business, we are strategizing to really do well this year. We had plans at the beginning of the year. We changed them a little bit, made a little bit of money from the coaching business, and then we sort of cancelled selling anything because we realized that we were just too early in the market. There's many things that we're teaching, many things that are amazing, but in terms of, we started thinking of longevity of the company. So in terms of that, we've sort of scaled back. We're sort of picking and choosing who comes into our program. So we don't just offer it to everyone, but we just sort of pick and choose. We are working on a lower ticket program, which most of people can be able to afford and get into it. But for the elite program, it's going to be hand-selected. Anyways, I won't bore you with that details. So anyways, I work nights, which is ideal for me because I get to spend time with my kids during the day and so on. So I'd gone for the night shift on Friday, came back in on Saturday morning, went to bed at about 7. And initially on the Friday, we discussed about going to the beach. We're about 1.5 hours away from the beach. So sometimes when it takes planning for us to go, and if you do go, we like to get there for about lunchtime. So it so happened that when I came in from work, I couldn't rest, I couldn't sleep. I had a few things that I needed to sort out before I actually went to sleep. So by the time I got to sleep, it was about 8:30. And normally we'd like to sort of wake up about 9 and then leave by 10 so we can get there for 12. So by the time 9 o'clock came, I was still exhausted. I'd only slept about an hour, and so I said, I'm just going to sleep for another couple of hours, and then hopefully we should leave by 11. You guys, as long as you're ready. And my wife was like, are you sure? Shall we go? And so on and so forth. And this is where the problem lied. So I knew I could say, no, let's cancel it, and then I'll get some rest. And what I knew was going to happen after that was that we were going to spend the weekend together, and then the mood would be different. Not that she's unappreciative that we haven't gone, but I think the one mistake that most people make is that as long as for example, I think to make this point, I'll give you this example. So COVID, when you talk about the year of COVID, when people were set at home, a lot of people have got no clue what happened on that year, and that year seemed a lot shorter. And what made it seem shorter is the fact that most people lived the same day over for a long period of time. So it's almost just warps time. And when you spend time at home on the weekend, which you should do at times, it bundles itself into other memories, so it doesn't seem like you didn't do anything. So when you look from Friday all the way up until Sunday, if you haven't done anything and stayed at home on a Saturday, it can affect your time warp in your head, and then it just seems like you didn't have much of a weekend. So that in mind, I knew that it was going to be important for us to go to the seaside. And not only that, it's because the past 2-3 weeks I spent a lot of time at work. I've done a lot of time at work. I spent less and less time with my family. I did have a good week before that where I spent time with them, but the last sort of 2 weeks I've been very, very busy. So there's a part of me where I felt guilty. So I thought if I can spend time with them, it sort of makes them feel like I've been there for them, I've been there with them, and we've done something amazing. So I said, yeah, we should go well, I woke up, well, I said we should go to the beach. So I woke up, and then my wife was like, we're cutting it fine. It's already 11 o'clock. I mean, is it worth going? And what she was trying to say was like, you make the decision to say no. But I knew that by saying no in terms of not going anymore, it would have meant that we're leaving the same day that she already has in the brain and us. And then by the time Sunday, when she takes stock of what's happened on the weekend, she would be upset about it. And she would feel bad about it. And she would feel like I've not been at home and I'm continuously working. It would have taken down this negative path. And I thought, I'm not going to allow that to happen. So I'm going to say yes. So I said yes. And to be honest with you, that decision was based off of me feeling guilty that I've left the family. So guilt was the motivator of that decision. And a certain part of me was thinking, no, let's not go. I think it's a bad idea to go now because now it's 11 o'clock. By the time we get there, it should be about 1. And as soon as we got into the car, which was now at that time 12 o'clock, so already an hour late again, 12 o'clock is normally the time we would like to arrive at the beach when leaving the house. We put the address on the sat nav, and there's traffic, so there's now an additional 2 hours for us to get there. So it was like 2 hours 20 minutes to actually get there. So we're literally leaving, and she's now really upset about it, like, oh, you should have not told us to go, we should have just stayed at home and so on. And she was really getting upset about it. Now this is where some guys lose it. I could have become reactive. I could have become, instead of saying sorry, and I said, you know what, let's just go. It is what it is. If it's 2 hours, it's 2 hours. And then she was still upset about it. And then as we're traveling, I could have, because she obviously got upset. So she started saying things that could have been considered mean, but she was just being like expressing herself. The important part about that interaction is that I did not get emotionally engaged. I didn't get upset. Neither did I say my 2 cents in and say, oh, this and that, and adds fire to it. I just realized the situation, that she's upset. I have made a decision, and really what was upsetting her was the fact that I put the burden of decision onto her. Even though I said yes, she knew it was a bad idea to go and leave it at 12 o'clock. I knew it was a bad idea, but I was putting the burden of decision to say, no, let's not go, on her instead of me. And she was trying to make me make that decision. But at the same time, I knew the effect of not making that decision. So I continued. Hopefully I'm keeping track of what I'm trying to say. So by saying, yes, let's go, I was going against that. So she was a bit upset that I didn't say no. So we're continuing on. And in fact, that we're now going to be there, going to this trip, and it's going to take us 2 hours, 20 minutes to get there. It's going to be another reason why I should have made the decision. So she's upset at me because I've not made that decision, which lowered my sexual value at that point, I would admit. And she's now ruminating. She's trying to process the whole thing. But my state, the way I remained calm, cool, and collected, is the reason why she ended up tracking back and then allowing herself to just be in the moment. So we ended up it took us 2 hours in the end to get there. We got to the beach. We set up ourselves in a place. They had lunch. I was not eating. I was not feeling hungry. We started playing with the water. Started making sandcastles and all this with my child. And when we started taking stock of the day, by the time the day came to an end, she was happy that we'd gone to the beach, and I was happy that we'd gone to the beach, because more importantly, we'd spent time together. More importantly, it felt like we'd broke away from having the same day at home, which would have negatively affected the whole scope of the weekend. So a few teaching lessons there, and one of the main one was when you made the decision, even though it was she was putting the burden of decision towards me, I tried to put it back on her, which was wrong. So I could have just told her, you know what, I know you want to go, but I think it's a good idea that we should go, and I should have given my reasons. And then that way it would have stopped us from having a bit of an argument before we left, when we realized that it's going to be 2 hours to get to the place. So again, that was my bad. But even though we all make mistakes, we all sort of make it up as we go, as I say, that I'd already made a mistake, but the recovery was then to stay cool when the pressure came on, because now I've put the better enough decision on her, which she didn't want. She didn't want to make a decision, and then all of a sudden she was now putting pressure on me for the fact that I didn't make a decision, which was in its essence a big test. So she was now testing me to see, okay, you've not made a decision. Are you still man enough to make decisions? So I'm going to put pressure on you and see if you can make decisions. So when she put pressure on me, the fact that I didn't buckle under the pressure then reassured her that I'm still a man who can still make decisions, which then initiated, or at least put back my value of more sexual value back on me. And therefore we had a very good weekend. Sunday, when we had time, things happened. So again, it becomes very important, because now if I buckled under the pressure, she would have looked at me and thought, oh, this guy is not a good leader. His sexual value just continues. And then it would have been a slippery road, because then I would have been in reaction. I would have said something nasty towards it, or I would have said something that would have perpetuated the whole interaction and made it even more terrible. And then Sunday, when we had the opportunity to be intimate, it would have not been that way, because she'd have been still second guessing my sexual value. So I just thought I would make this. I'm boiling hot in my waiting for my kid. So I'm going to, before I pass out, I'm just going to say I thought that was an interesting teaching point for you guys, and hopefully it's something that you can take on. And because I've taught about this, but then I just never had an example. So hopefully now you have an example of what it might look like and how you can implement it into your life. So thank you very much for listening. I'll be seeing you soon. Take care.